I absolutely love AD. For those listeners who might not know what it means, it's the architectural design. It's essentially the main course for students, where you focus on developing one and sometimes multiple projects throughout the entire semester. It is my absolute favorite. I always look forward to it. It's different every time with the briefs that is given.
Hello, I'm Regina. I'm head of ARCHIP, Architecture Institute in Prague, School of Architecture, and this is our ARCHIP podcast. I have Andy here today. Andy, welcome, our student. And we start, I think, talking about Norway, my second home, and Andy comes from there. So, for the beginning, can you tell us, Andy, something about your high school studies? You know, what did you study, whether your high school was somehow, specified on different fields, or how was your high school studies, and when have you discovered that architecture is your destiny?
It's a good question. So my high school was fairly, let's say, general. You could focus on certain topics here and there, obviously, with language or with more science and whatnot. I did like the more physics part of the later years of my high school, because I had in my mind to become an engineer. And I guess that's where it started, when it came to like buildings and structures. And then after taking a break from everything, essentially after I was done with high school, I was traveling for a year, and I found out, okay, engineering might not be for me, but architecture I think is the perfect combination of this construction elements that I enjoyed. And I fell back in love with drawing, as I did when I was a kid, when I was traveling. So,
drawing or sketching? Like, did you draw?
Primarily sketching, I presume. Like the environments around me, and trying to find some feel.
Interesting. You mentioned that you were traveling for 1 year, which is quite typical for, let's say, Scandinavians. I would say that either I think very few students go directly from their high school to the university. Is that
there are a good amount of people that did it, at least from my school, but it is more popular than, for example, in the US to go traveling, to take a year working. Military is also quite a big thing in Norway, so a lot of people go into the military. But the problem with going straight from high school to the university, I've heard from people that I did go to high school with, they went a few years and then they didn't like what they ended up choosing. So I took a good amount of years before I actually decided to apply and decide what I wanted to do. Because yes, I was traveling first, and I was working for a few years, doing some testing of applications and whatnot 1 year, and then I applied. So I was very happy with waiting how I did, because I was mature enough, I was very definite with my choice. So
no, I have to agree, because it happens now and then that some of our students, freshmen, that also they, after studying like sometimes 1 month, sometimes 1 semester or 1 year, they say to themselves, actually architecture is probably not the field I wanted to study, or I imagined something totally different under the word architecture, and being a, let's say building designer, landscape designer, planner, or all that together, because indeed the field is extremely broad. So, direct question, why did you choose architecture in Prague, or why did you choose us?
It's a question I've been asked plenty of times, as you presume you know, but I'm happy to answer it again. I wanted something international. I love the international communities, and was traveling. I fell in love with the language of English. I feel I can express myself better in English than in Norwegian, actually.
Really?
Which my parents do not like to hear, but so I wanted something international. There aren't that many international schools for bachelors in Europe.
That's true.
and I'd been to Prague when I was traveling. I obviously fell in love with the city, as I still am, still in love with the city, love it. And it seemed essentially from the information I found of ARCHIP online, with the website and so on, it had this very openness to it. The sort of like, it's not as like strict when it comes to this hierarchy of students to the teachers, and it felt quite expanding, and that's one word I'm looking for, felt quite experimental, which I wanted.
Good. It's nice to hear, because actually, when I think about our website, and now we are, I think, much better with our social media and our website as well, but before, we were just happy that, that's done, we have website, and so I'm happy to hear that it really, because I believe that we are open school, that we are not hierarchical school, that all that was also reflected in our website. That's probably it was not an intention, but that's how we did it. Great. So you came to Prague without, I suppose, knowing anybody here. How was it? How was it the first? Because it was also 2021.
2022, I believe.
Oh, 2022.
Yeah.
So Corona was over.
Yeah.
Was a bit better, because indeed I experienced a little bit Corona times in Norway. It's not easy. They're totally different from Sweden, for example. Two countries so close to each other, but so different. So how was it being new to this city?
Like I had been there for maybe 4 nights before, so it was obviously, it was like going into a new city. I was lucky to have a family friend who knew some people in Liberec. So they helped me settle in, and they were very welcoming in their Czech ways. They brought me like marmalade and honey,
mushrooms.
Exactly, a bunch of vegetables to cook with. So I was welcomed in the most Czech way possible, with open arms. It was very, very nice. And I came quite early. I came, I think, like a month, almost 3 weeks before the school started. So I was just walking around, experiencing the city, taking it all in, settling down a bit, and I loved it. That's
nice to hear again. And so there are 5 semesters behind you. No, you are in our bachelor program in the third final year. So bachelor diploma project is awaiting you. If you look back to those 5 semesters, what did you like and what did you dislike on the study program?
I absolutely love AD. For those listeners who might not know what it means, it's the architectural design. It's essentially the main course for students, where you focus on developing one and sometimes multiple projects throughout the entire semester. It is my absolute favorite. I always look forward to it. It's different every time with the briefs that is given. So that is 100% my favorite. I've learned a lot through that, both from students around me, obviously the professors, a lot from myself as well. I love learning new programs and new approaches. A lot of YouTube, a lot of testing and failing, but it's so much fun. What I dislike? Time management, I guess. ARCHIP has a lot of courses, and I see the need for all of them, some more than less, obviously, but that's obviously subjective. But it's essentially trying to juggle all the courses. That was probably the most difficult for me.
No, I'm aware of that. In comparison to other schools, I think we still have minimum number of courses.
It's true.
Other schools have like 10 courses per semester.
Exactly.
We try to have the minimum like 5-6 courses.
Exactly.
Especially now in master program, we try to really bring all those courses together. The addition or the courses, all courses except of AD should support AD, and somehow managed to to make it like one project one studies. It's a bit easier in master program. In bachelor program it's more difficult because you have to teach history, you have to teach mathematics or applied mathematics, so it's difficult to merge it with AD brief, but we tried.
That was something that I didn't fully understand the first 2 semesters, I think. How it all kind of connected. I only, let's say in the last year, really understood how important all the other courses were and how it all interconnected properly. So I'm very grateful that you do push us to learn all these different things and not just like do this little one course and just like one assignment here and there, but we actually I feel like I've learned an insane amount with all this. So. Sometimes,
it's also architecture, as we speak about the field as being very broad, broad profession, broad field. It really includes all different professions or fields, and to combine all that and to coordinate. Let's say we have around 100 students at the moment and 50 teachers. Indeed, not insane. All of them for full-time job, but the combination of these different subjects, from being it the history of architecture, of art, theory, applied mathematics, constructions, photography, whatever. So it's a challenge to combine all that.
For sure.
So can you mention some of the briefs for AD which you experience here, some of your favorite projects you worked on?
My first, I have to say I like all the briefs. Like, for example, I remember my first semester I had you and Kara.
True.
And I remember the last project we had together there, the bridge, Muslim Most. And that's when I really felt like I started learning properly how to do the architectural design. So I was like revitalizing a bridge, lovely brief, very fun project. And then the second one, I felt like I was able to find my niche to a certain extent. It was the CZ2 with Shota and Andre. And I might have gone a bit overboard for only my second semester, because I essentially built a small city next to Mlada Boleslav, made it completely out of timber. Extremely fun project, very fun to develop, and that was probably the reality catcher in architectural school, in my opinion, because Shota and Andre, brilliant people, but they're very honest. And I really appreciated it, I realized later on, because I had a few thoughts or design approaches I came with in the beginning, and they were like, no, this doesn't make sense. I was like, but why? and it wasn't until the late part of the semester where it suddenly clicked, because of what they came with as input. So I eventually this honest feedback, which I thrive on, I realized now, really helped me. And then next semester there again, I was able to do a lot of animations and movements, which I have also fallen in love with to a certain extent, learning new programs, and then doing another insane project with Ilan Fessler and Susanna, building 80 meters down in the ground, making a small little city underground. So all the briefs have been brilliant, so I couldn't really pick one, I have to say.
Nice, but if I may ask you to say a little bit more about CZ2 project that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Because that was an enormous project coordinated by us with 5 universities, including us involved. So can you say a little bit about what was the brief like, and if you can describe that.
So it was in collaboration with, as you said, multiple other schools here in Czech Republic and the Netherlands, primarily with the Y Factory. And the brief was essentially how we could imagine the Czech Republic evolving over the next decades or centuries, for that matter. And we were looking, and one part that I also didn't appreciate at the time, but I appreciate now, was this research part. To understand what can be improved, how it can be improved, and using numbers such as the lack of wooden buildings or timber buildings in larger structures, which was why I chose, because the brief was very open. As you know, it was anything that would make sense to the statistics or data that you found,
and to you
and
personally.
To me,
That I think that there I found, it was the beginning of the studios, that when we try to find the seed inside each student, and the personal interest, and how you can then develop your thought further.
Precisely, yeah. Which was very, very. This is very fun, essentially. So having this brief, being this open, and then being allowed to develop it with your professors, you're essentially making your own brief as well.
Yep.
With the project being developed throughout.
That's true. And also what was quite fun, and indeed for our part, for coordinating that was a nightmare, but having a workshop where all students met, coming from Liberec, Brno, us from Prague and from CTU, working and sketching on the ideas. Then you did amazing work in interviewing all students, filming the process. That was the middle of semester, and at the end of semester, working on this giant model, which was a long process as well.
It was very demanding. I remember starting to do or helping with the film group, and then ending up having to do a lot more than I technically were supposed to know, as I hadn't opened any editing program ever, and then suddenly learning that on the go within 2 days, and then making a movie at the end of the semester. It was insane, but extremely fun as well. Learning a lot, and also being able to assist later on with the exhibition in Brno and Pardubice, and some social media stuff.
It was a big project with actually 3 exhibitions at the end. It was a final show of the semester, which took part at the CTU, Faculty of Architecture, in the main, or one of the 3 main atriums there. Then we brought exhibition to Brno, to Zelný trh, exhibiting the project there. And the last stop was in Pardubice, in newly opened gallery of the city of Pardubice. And now we have stored our exhibition in Holešovice, and hoping to exhibit it next summer in Ostrava. There's a festival, Colors of Ostrava. So maybe we manage that. We were thinking about Prague Castle. So these are the dreams, but the book is coming soon.
Yes,
so
I heard
all projects were gathered together. We are working on it together with the Y Factory, as you mentioned. Probably it's also important to mention that the main driving force behind was Vinny Maas from MVRDV, who was teaching at CTU before. Now we have him here. So I'm happy that this book will be published soon. Let's say not January, February, March, and then we can launch the book as well, and see all your projects nicely published. Great. So these were the studies. Living in Prague, how is it? What does it mean to be an international student in Prague?
It means a lot of difficult attempts at Czech. It is a quite complicated language. I remember I was actually trying to learn it when I first came here with the first semester, and then I realized the time capacity, trying to outweigh work, studies, and everything else, social life. So eventually I settled on getting through the supermarket and ordering at a restaurant, which I can do comfortably now, but further than that, not so much. So because we as an international student, we do socialize primarily with the people in our school, which I would like to expand, but it's not as easy when you have all these things happening primarily around the school. But I mean, I was also able to find some friends with tennis, as I was playing some tennis for a club nearby me, and they brought me along for some football matches and some Czech traditions with some barbecues and so on. So there are some issues, some problems there, and there are some challenges rather, as an international in Prague. But it's, I mean, the city itself is just gorgeous. I'm never bored here, and beer is cheap and good.
I almost forgot that you are also a tennis player, and being here in Albertov, still very central position in Prague, and before in Vyšehrad, I actually noticed how many tennis courts are around here. Did you play on some of them?
I played, if you know the one by where our school used to be, if you walk towards the metro station, it's on the down there.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. It's the most stunning tennis court I've ever played at.
Really?
Yeah. Like, 'cause it's surrounded by this amazing. It's like embedded in nature and history, with this wall wrapping around. I played with Jakub Svoboda, who's an even better tennis player than I am.
Is he better?
He's way better. I'm okay, but he, but yeah, no, I love tennis.
No, it's on the other hand side, it's strange. Always when I walked past the Vyšehrad tennis courts, they were empty.
Yeah, it's sad.
Is it your experience as well?
Yeah, I believe we were talking to the caretaker of the courts, and I believe they're supposed to essentially end its existence because of the new information center there, if I understood it correctly.
There is, but I don't think it will affect somehow.
I didn't think so either, but from the understanding, it's not going to be there in a few years, which is very sad because it's absolutely beautiful. But maybe not enough people play it there.
Strange, because Czechs, no, they are tennis lovers, and we have very good sports women mostly. I have to say.
We have some good young guys as well now.
I know one of them, my neighbor. But speaking about tennis, I wanted to mention something different, but doesn't matter. And now going to your future plans. You are going to graduate, most probably, in 2025, spring. Are you already planning your master studies or gap year, or what are your thoughts?
I'm as of now thinking of going directly to masters. I have a list of, I think, 12 or 13 schools. All in Europe except one. I haven't told my parents yet, so I hope.
Okay, so don't don't say it now.
But it's a list of all amazing universities. I'm sure I'll enjoy wherever I end up. And
yes, I can just confirm. You know, I remember you from the very first day, because you are pretty tall, probably not that visible from here. But I remember the first day when I look on my new students, and suddenly I saw you with 20-30 centimeters above others, and always smiling. So I think the school where you are going to study your master program will be definitely happy to have you. Because I mean, it was a pleasure to have you here and collaborate with you, because I mean, you are always here to help and always dedicated, and yeah, so that's from our side. And so we spoke about your past, about your future. And is there something else you would like to share with our audience or with us?
Architecture, as you mentioned, is this combination of all these different things. I like to say that's a jack of all trades. And the finishing, the end of that quote is supposed to be jack of all trades but master of none. But I do, but I believe that at Archip I was able to, as my colleagues as well probably feel as well, to become master of certain things. I know people that have become more interested in in parametric design or scripting or videography, all of these things. So I think architecture, yes, you're a jack of all trades, but you can really find this one thing that you enjoy the most of it. And I think Archip is the best when it comes to this, because you learn like an insane amount of different courses. You can take things from all of it, but in the end, it is you as a student who's able to develop what you enjoy the most. Find your style, find your approach to things. That's something I've really enjoyed at Archip, as well as the teachers being always open to talk. Whenever you ask a teacher, like, can I talk to you for 5 minutes after class, they smile and seem happy to. So absolutely lovely.
You're right, and your note brings me to your even further future. Do you have an idea what would you like to do? Where would you like to start your own office, or work for somebody, or stay in Norway, or work internationally?
It's a good question. I have like 15 ideas at the same time.
Again, so you have 12 universities and 15 ideas.
But perhaps in a few decades I might open a studio of my own, who knows. I definitely want to work in multiple places, probably internationally as well, to learn as much as I can. I have some contacts here now. I have some contacts in Norway. We have Vinny. So I'm sure I can bounce around a bit and truly learn as much as I can. I remember the podcast with Andre. He was saying exactly this. When you're young, go abroad, go study abroad, learn abroad, find different approaches, meet different peoples, and see what other people are doing. And that is something that I truly think I will enjoy and thrive from. So
you remember when I interviewed him that he advised that because he did it himself.
Exactly.
He was in the exceptional architecture offices in Europe, and experienced different studios. Yep, super. So, and thank you very much. Thank you for sharing all your feelings and experiences with us.